Oh, hello there. I'm just grabbing myself a coffee here. Coffee, don't get me started. When did ordering a coffee become more complicated than applying for a mortgage when you get into these coffee places? I only wanted caffeine. I didn't realise that you was going to have to be an interview because coffee used to wake you up. Now you need to be fully awake. You need to be fully awake when you order one. I went in for a coffee today and somehow ended up discussing milk, roast levels and my entire personality. There was a time when coffee please was a complete sentence. Now you walk into a cafe and you say, can I have a coffee please? And suddenly you're sitting an exam. It's like, what size? It's medium. What roast? Brown. What milk? Preferably from a cow. And apparently that's not specific enough. You need to be going full fat, semi-skimmed, skimmed, oat, almond, coconut, soya, whatever. I'm surprised they don't say, listen, we've got one in the back here from a goat called Brian, if you're interested. I mean, where does it stop? But then they would ask you, do you want an extra shot? An extra shot? I've eaten had the first one yet. Let's see how I cope with that before we start increasing my dosage. And then, would you like vanilla syrup? No thanks. No caramel? No that. No. Hazelnut? No. I just want coffee, thanks. And at this point, the person behind me is getting really annoyed because apparently they've rehearsed their full order at home. They step forward and they're saying a grand oat milk, half calf, extra hot, sugar free, vanilla latte with an extra shot. And I'm standing there thinking, did they just order a coffee or did they launch a satellite? And then there's the sizes. Now, small, medium, large. Perfect system. We all know it. Everybody understands it. But no, now we've got to have tall, grande, venti. But tall is the small one. How does that work? If somebody walks up to me who's 5'2", I don't say, there's a tall gentleman. Well, unless everybody else is about 4'6". But I mean, and here's another thing. Why does it every coffee now's got to come with a description? They'll tell you, our beans have notes of chocolate, berries and toasted almond. Trust me, no they don't. They taste like coffee. I've never taken a sip and said, oh, I'm getting a bit of blackberry and a little bit of walnut. Oh, and is that a hint of, I know what that's a hint of. That's a hint of disappointment because it tastes like coffee. That's what it is. And then they haven't even written your name correctly. They ask you your name and you say, it's Frank, okay. And somehow your cup says Greg. How does that work? You've paid £4.50 for a coffee and you've accidentally became Greg. And after all that, you finally sit down. You've now made 14 decisions. You've declined 6 syrups. You've identified your preferred milk. You've explained whether you want foam. You've confirmed your name. You've practically provided 2 forms of identification. And you take your first sip. Guess what? It's too hot. So now you're sitting there for 10 minutes. You're waiting for the drink you've spent 10 minutes ordering to become drinkable. So, do you know what I'm doing next time? Next time I go into a cafe, I'm keeping it very simple. I'm walking up to the counter and saying, can I have a normal coffee please? And when they ask me what kind, I'm just going to say to them, the brown wet one. That's it. Listen guys, thanks again for listening. Cheers, bye for now.